Please welcome Daniel Lacalle, Chief Economist at hedge fund Tressis and author of Freedom or Equality, Escape from the Central Bank Trap and Life in the Financial Markets. So great to have you with us today, Daniel.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me.
As the Supreme Court weighs whether or not to validate the Biden administration's student debt forgiveness, there are concerns brewing about the economic impact. Some say the move could be inflationary in that forgiveness will, students will take out more loans, colleges will charge more tuition, and that cycle will repeat itself. What's your stance on this?
I think you're absolutely right. If you think about it, the decision to forgive part of these loans benefits a small proportion of the students that have asked for these student loans, but it would incredibly damage those that request a new loan in the future. Furthermore, it's basically giving a sign to all universities and colleges that the cost of tuition can continue to raise without any problem.
It is interesting you mentioned the fairness here. And what about students who just paid off their debt all at once? It also is another concern. Now, there is an estimate by the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. It says the Federal Reserve will have to raise rates by 50 to 75 basis points to neutralize the effects of Biden's debt forgiveness. Is this estimate reasonable, and how would it make a difference?
Probably it's probably conservative, because if you think about it, we're talking about an additional burden to the budget that would increase the deficit, and not just increase the deficit small, but increase it very, very significantly, which would lead to higher risk of inflation. And ultimately, it's not just penalizing those that have been able to repay their debts, it's penalizing those citizens that have absolutely nothing to do with the scheme, and at the same time are going to suffer the elevated inflation that is already a huge burden on consumers.
Balancing the budget is very important, and you mentioned the concerns about it increasing the deficit. Now, on the other hand, some are predicting the debt relief will have a stimulating effect on the economy. It could generate more tax revenue by giving borrowers more cash flow. What's your reaction to this?
That is not true, and it's never worked like that. When you bail out borrowers, and those are people that, due to whatever circumstances, are unable to repay their debt, what ends up happening is that the impact on consumption is very, very limited, actually probably inexistent, because think about it. If I have financial problems and somebody reduces my debt by a small percentage, I'm not getting any better. Think about Greece, for example. I continue to have a problem of financial solvency no matter what. I'm completely sure that the person that receives that small reduction in there, because it's not an entire reduction of their debt, that person is going to continue to have challenges to get a credit card, to continue to have challenges to have liquidity.
And Daniel, the Supreme Court is expected to issue a ruling on this in June. What do you think is the most important aspect that they should be looking at?
Well, the most important aspect is that it's from a legal and from a fairness perspective, it makes absolutely no sense. There are all types of different ways in which citizens can refinance or restructure their debts when they're in difficulties. And the financial system provides all sorts of opportunities. The big problem here is going to be one of almost of morality, is that you don't do this. It's because this is not like the bailout of the banks. The banks in the United States were bailed out and they repaid entirely their debt plus interests with dividends. This is not the same case.
The economic implications are one thing, but as you mentioned, the legal and moral issues will be central to this. Daniel Lacalle, Chief Economist at hedge fund Tressis, thank you so much for your analysis.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, leave your comments below, and keep defending freedom. Thank you very much.